Stick around and I'll give you a couple tips about how to buy in Catonsville when there are no new construction houses available. There are no new construction homes in Catonsville. Well, that's not exactly true. There are a couple, like a handful, like a small handful, like one or two. In the past few years, there have been a couple neighborhoods that have come online. Second Look Lane and Catons Reserve are ones that come to mind. But these are small neighborhoods with only a handful of houses. And right now, none of those are available for sale. What is available for sale that's new construction is a little sketchy. I mean, take a look right now, and there are two houses listed as new construction on the same street, and they're in the $750,000 range. But take a look at this street, guys. I don't know that this is where you want your new house to be. It's north of 40. It's in a neighborhood that's a real mishmash of older homes. And it's right next to a bunch of commercial properties and right behind Taco Bell. Not exactly an ideal place to raise a family. But someone's going to buy those houses because they are really, really drawn to new construction, and that's the most important thing for them. That's great. But if you want to move to Catonsville, if you really love Catonsville and you want to move here, I don't think you're going to get the best experience with one of those homes. So first of all, drive by. They haven't even put a shovel in the ground. I mean, those homes are not even started at this point. You would have to shell out a bunch of money and wait. And it's not a neighborhood, so there's no model home to go look at. There's no way to see the finishes or understand the quality of the construction before you buy. It's really taking a big chance to buy a new construction home that's just on paper and not even started yet. It's just a set of drawings. So what do you do if you love Catonsville, you love new construction homes, but you can't find any? So what do you do? Well, you could look in another town, right? Expand your search area. But you don't want to do that because you want to live in Catonsville. So let's talk about some other options. First, you could target the exact house you want and get in touch with the owners and see if they are amenable to selling, or see if they have plans to sell in the next couple years. It's not a bad idea. You can make yourself known. For some people, that might be a great fit. Some people don't want pictures of their house online. They don't want a sign in their front yard. They don't want their neighbors to know what they're doing. So a private sale might make sense for some people. But for others who are looking to maximize their return, they're going to want to expose their house to the market. And they're probably not just going to take the first deal that comes along. Another option, since there are no new construction homes available, is to buy a newer home. So we can look at these neighborhoods like Catons Reserve, Second Look Lane, Eden Terrace is one that's near the Beltway that has fairly new houses. Another option is to find a plot of land yourself and build a house on it. Work with a builder and get exactly what you want. Now that's tricky because there aren't a lot of empty lots available in Catonsville. They've all been built on already. And so what you see is that, for example, over on Rognall, there is a new home that was built on a lot, but it's jammed up against the back of the old elementary school on a dead-end street. It's probably not an ideal neighborhood. It's probably not an ideal location. But there was a lot available, so somebody built a house on it. The house doesn't fit the neighborhood. It's a totally different style. The street, it doesn't feel like a great street. There's a big mess on the street. A lot of the houses are run down. And so you got a brand new house right across the street from a 100-year-old rundown house. It's not a cohesive neighborhood. And you got to consider, why hasn't anybody else built a house on that lot in the last 200 years, right? I mean, these are literally the last lots left over in town that nobody wanted to build on. So we've seen a couple of these. There's a couple on Winters Lane that are relatively new. One just sold and one is about to be sold. The last new construction neighborhood built in Catonsville is down on Second Look Lane. That's off of Rolling Road near CCBC. This is a premium high-end community, and the last house was sold there in 2024. The last 3 houses in that neighborhood to sell sold for $894,000, $921,000, and $1.13 million. But guys, these people just moved into those houses, so nobody's moving anytime soon. I mean, there may be a life event, a death, a divorce, a marriage, a birth, something like that would cause somebody to move. But for the most part, the people that bought in that neighborhood, I think they bought their dream homes, and they're probably staying for a while. Something you might not realize is that only about 3% of Catonsville houses sell every year. So if we look at the Second Look Lane neighborhood, that's only 11 houses. Do the math, and that means only about 1 house is going to sell every 3 years. So there may not be an opportunity there anytime soon. The next possibility is Catons Reserve. Now that neighborhood is down Hilton Avenue near Patapsco State Park. Most houses in Catons Reserve were finished in 2016 or 2017. So those people have been there, 6 years about? Now, if we look back at the records and we look to see if that 3% rule holds, well, it actually does. So the last new house was sold in 2017. Nothing was sold in 18 or 19 because people were fresh into those houses. They were loving them. 2020, 1 house sold. 2021, 1 house sold. 2022, 1 house sold. Now, we haven't had a sale in Catons Reserve in 23 or 2024. So I think we're due for maybe 1 or even 2 houses to list from that neighborhood this year. If you want to live down there, get in touch with me and we can come up with a strategy how to get in. Now, you may wonder, are these a good deal? These are very expensive houses at the top of the price range in Catonsville. So let's look at the last house to sell in Catons Reserve. It was 640 Bridal Creek Court. Now, when it changed hands in 2022, it sold for $941,000. And it also, of note, it sold for $66,000 above the original listing price in 4 days. Is that a hot market? Yeah. Now, the owners purchased the house in 2016 for $774,000. That means their appreciation in 6 years was 22%, or $167,000 in 6 years. That's a good investment. So instead of buying new construction, what you could do is buy a house and renovate it. You get to make all the decisions. You get to choose the countertops, the paint colors, the cabinets, the bathroom fixtures. You control the budget. You control the timeline. Now, the downsides to that are you may need somewhere else to live while you're doing the work. So you may be carrying 2 mortgages or 2 rent, or a mortgage and a rental payment, or something like that. But you can be creative. There are other ways to accomplish the same thing. If you have kids, it might be a little more challenging. If you don't have kids, maybe you put an RV in the driveway and live there while you're doing the renovations. you can make that house anything you want. You can bring it up to new construction level and get a new construction feel and not have to use a toilet that someone else has used for the last 10 years. In that case, concentrate on the location of the house. That's something you can't change once you buy it. You can change everything else about the house, but you're not going to change its location. So find a house with a good location that you can improve to the level that you desire, to whatever works for your family. If I were moving to Catonsville today, I would probably be looking for an older home. I really like the old Catonsville houses. And as an investor, my playbook has been to redesign the layout of these older houses to bring them up to more modern standards, but at the same time, keep all the character of the old house. There's lots of ways to do this. Most often, it's taking out a couple walls, rearranging the layout, and then putting in new kitchen, new bathrooms. I mean, there are good reasons to buy newer houses. In general, they're going to be more energy efficient. They're going to have newer systems, right? Appliances, air handlers, air conditioners, furnaces, water heaters. It's going to be less for you to deal with up front. But if you buy an old house and put all new systems in, then it's as good as new. For me, I love the character of the older houses, so that's probably the route I would take. There are also a lot of good ways to renovate mid-century houses. A lot of our housing stock in Catonsville was built after World War II, so around 1950. A lot of the brick row homes and a lot of the neighborhoods north of Route 40 fall into this category. What that means is you can find houses, some houses, that still have their original owner. And in many cases, these original owners have taken great care of their houses. Now, not always. Yeah, there are some dumps, certainly, and those are appealing for certain reasons as well. But what might make you feel comfortable is to see a quality house that you know you can improve. What I love to do is get the crappiest looking house and see through the junk and the water leaks and the cracks to be able to refresh it, to bring it up to new standards and sell it at a premium. And the way to do this is to reconfigure some of the spaces, improve the bathrooms and kitchen, and in general, bring it up to current standards. What people expect. Those houses are going to sell. Buying new construction in Catonsville is probably going to be a waiting game. If you're really set on a certain neighborhood, get in touch with me and we can talk about ways to get our foot in the door with the exact house that you're after. If you're up for a renovation, that's a different set of considerations, and we can go look for those. So, okay, we can wait around. Okay, we can wait around for the house of our dreams to come up for sale, or we can go search for a house that will fulfill all of our needs. Nobody's moving out of these newer neighborhoods anytime soon. And if they do, it's only going to be one or maybe two a year. It's not a lot of options. So how are you going to know when the house you want is about to come up for sale? Well, if you want to be the first to know when a home in your desired neighborhood is coming up for sale, contact me. We can set up a custom email search so that when there's any change in that neighborhood, you get an email blast immediately that lets you know what's going on. It's something that I do for my clients, and I know that not many other real estate agents do this. So you wake up every morning and you open Zillow and you look. You're looking for that house to come up for sale, that house in the neighborhood that you really, really like. It's a newer house. in a new neighborhood, in a great location, great features, great amenities. It's not for sale, and it's not coming up for sale, and you haven't seen one for sale in the last couple months. When are you going to get a chance to buy that house? Well, you need to do something special. You need to do something different. You can sit around and passively wait for a house to come up for market, and then you hope that you see it in time, and you hope that you're ready to buy, and you hope that you've got your pre-approval and you're all ready to go. But if you're not, it's going to be a problem. You're not going to get that house. There's going to be way too much competition here in Catonsville. In Catonsville, the competition is through the roof. In Catonsville, competition is fierce. So you're not going to be able to buy a new construction house. Probably. You'd have to be really lucky to get into one of these new construction houses. And it's not just luck. You also need to be ready. You need to be ready to buy. So if you're serious, let's start the process now. Let's set up an automatic email to come to your inbox every day that'll show you any changes in the neighborhood that you're looking at. We can set these emails up to look at the entire zip code, just certain neighborhoods, just certain streets, whatever you like. It's custom for you. I don't need to find the house for you. You're going to find the house. You're going to look at Zillow or Realtor.com or something like that, and you're going to see that this house is available. And now what can I do about it? Then you've got to go find an agent. Well, why wait? Why not hook up with an agent now? Let them know what you're looking for. And then when it becomes available, the agent can let you know. If you don't start talking about what you want, you have less and less chance of getting what you want. The more you talk about it, the more people that know what you're after, the greater the chance of getting that. The reason to work with a real estate agent sooner rather than later is because they're tuned in to what other agents are doing and what other buyers and sellers are doing in the area. That's what they do every single day. And so if there's a house that's about to come up for sale, but it's not on the market yet, your real estate agent might know about it. They might be able to get you into that house before it even goes on the market. If you don't talk to somebody ahead of time, they're not going to know. They're not going to know what you're looking for and have that in the back of their head. If I know that the Smith family is looking for 4 bedrooms somewhere down Hilton Avenue, then as soon as I hear about that, I'm going to connect with the Smith family. Remember, in Catons Reserve, the last house that sold for $66,000 over asking price in 4 days. Now, that was 2 years ago, but the only thing that's going to be different this year is that the price is going to be even higher. So, sit around and wait for it to come to you. That's one way. The other way is to make it happen. Take the reins and make it happen yourself. So listen, you can buy a newer house, a few years old, and touch it up. Maybe it just needs new paint. Maybe you want to change the bathroom faucets. That might be your level of renovation and enough to get you the new feel and the decisions that you want to make, but not in a brand new house. The other way is to go full out and do an extensive renovation of an older house, probably. Now, this can be a 1950s house or it can be a 1900 house. Either one. You have a lot more choices, but it's going to take more time. It's going to cost more money, and you're going to be inconvenienced a little bit more. But on the back side of that, you're going to get exactly the house you want, and it's probably going to be in the exact location that you want because you were patient and you waited for the right opportunity. So, new houses are great. It's not always my cup of tea. I like to fix old stuff, and as an investor, that's usually my game, to try to find the crappiest house and add the most value to get the biggest result. For you, you're going to live there. You want to be comfortable. You want the decisions to be yours. So I'd say take the reins. Either way, take those reins. Be in control. Make positive choices. Get hooked up with a real estate agent now and let them know what you're looking for. Don't wait. If you wait until the day that that's listed and then you reach out to a real estate agent, there's going to be some time it takes to get started with that agent. I mean, at the very minimum, even to tour the house, you're going to need to set, when you get hooked up with a new agent, at the very minimum, you're going to at least need to sign a buyer-broker agreement before you tour the house. That's one of these new regulations that we're dealing with. Now, it's easy, but you have to know what you're in for. There are no more new neighborhoods being built because there's no more space in Catonsville. And any lots that are left over, a lot here, a lot there, you know, sometimes those get new houses built on them. But then it feels weird because you've got a new house next to a really old house, and it may not be in an ideal location because all the ideal lots were built on decades ago. So the lots that are left over are just the lots that nobody else wanted to build on. There may be an opportunity for you, but maybe not. In Catonsville, only 3% of houses sell each year. That's about 450 homes in our entire zip code. It's not a lot. You have to be ready. You have to have your game face on. You have to have your financials in order. You have to understand the process and how long it might take. You could go and find a lot on your own and work with a custom builder to build a house. Right down the street from me on Pullen Avenue, there's new construction going on right now. But this is a lot that someone purchased and then contacted a builder, and they're building a house for themselves. They're not building a house to sell. They're not building a house for someone else. They're building it for themselves. Now, this is ideal if you can swing it. But to swing it takes a ton of time and a ton of money. The development process in Baltimore County is pretty difficult. It could take more than a year to get a house built. Now, can you wait that long? A lot of people can't. But if it's your dream house, maybe you can. And maybe that's a great idea for you. It works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody. Some of the newer houses on Winters Lane are interesting. But they're all being built on these tiny lots, these tiny leftover lots. We call them infill projects, putting a house on any available space that's left in the neighborhood. And what happens is these houses don't look like the house next door or the house across the street. It kind of breaks up the neighborhood. You lose that cohesive feeling. And you can kind of tell, you drive down the street and it looks like a mishmash. Now, some people don't care. Some people do. To each his own. If I were buying today, as an investor, I'm always going to look for a rundown dump that needs a lot of work because that's where I can add value. That means we can get a deal on the property, buying it for less than market value, let's say, and we can add in our renovations and then have something hopefully that is worth more than market value at the end of the day. Also, it's comfortable for me to live in because I've made all the decisions myself. At the end of the day, buying a house is a competition. You're up against other players in the market. Some are going to be better positioned than you, and some are going to be not as well positioned. The best thing you can do is to go in with a strong offer. It's going to be interesting to see how many houses come on the market this spring. It's about to get busy. I would suggest, if you're thinking about buying, Start by getting pre-qualified. Start by working on your credit score and getting pre-qualified for a mortgage. That way you'll be in the best position to act when your perfect dream house comes up for sale. Give me a call and let me know exactly what you're looking for, and I can help you find it. Having an expert on your side is a really good way to get ahead of the competition. As an investor, I might have a slightly different perspective than another real estate agent. I'm going to understand construction, renovation, and the financial numbers a little bit better than the next person. When you can't find that perfect house, you have a couple choices. You can wait for it to come to market, or you can force the situation and buy something and make it your own. I'm Matt, and I help people buy and sell houses in Catonsville.